It's okay for you to be vocal about needing help. It's okay for you to acknowledge that you're overwhelmed. And the next stage to this is either getting help or taking your baby to daycare, and that's fine, no judgment. I'll be showing you guys how to choose. What's up guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. On this channel I discuss motherhood, lifestyle and everything in between. If you're interested in that, please consider subscribing to my channel. Now let's dive into today's video. In today's video I'll be showing you guys the pros and cons of taking your baby to daycare, also the pros and cons of having a nanny for your baby. And if you're a new mom out there stuck with making that decision, or you're not sure which way to go, or you're struggling on how to choose on which way is best for your baby, this video is for you. I'll be sharing all these things right in this video. Personally, I've experienced both. I've had a nanny, and I had a nanny when my baby was 3 months old, and she left when he was 7 months old. Now, the reason why she left was she had a pending agreement with her previous employer who left the country, that when they returned, she would resume work. So it happens that when my baby was 7 months old, that was when she had to resume her job with them, so she had to leave. Now, that's why I had to opt for a daycare, right? And before I did opt for a daycare, I was in this state of confusion. I was searching for information on how I would make my decision, and which is why I made this video, to help you guys decide on which way to go, compare which is better than the other, right? That's why I made this video. The reason why I didn't go ahead to get another nanny was because of fear, but because of anxiety, and during that process I had limited time to make a decision. So if you're a new mom out there, I need you to acknowledge that you need help if you need one, and if you're able to afford to get help, either a nanny or taking your baby to daycare, please do. This would help your mental health. It will also help you balance other things, because other things that you need to put your energy in aside raising your baby. If you have other kids, you need to also focus on them. You also have to balance the work life. You also have to balance the wife role. Just so many other important things that you need to put your time and energy in, right? So it's okay for you to need help. It's okay for you to take your baby to take care or decide to get a nanny. All these things are very much okay. So don't feel in any way that it would take your baby away from you, or to make your baby love you less, or make you love your baby less, or make you less of a mom. If you're having all those thinking, which is part of what I did, I also struggled mentally with just, being bold enough to make the decision, and I eventually did by acknowledging that I needed help, and this helped me a lot. It helped put things into perspective, mentally, physically, and in all areas of my life, which is getting assistance. So if you're struggling with just making that decision, this video is for you. Make up your mind on which way or which category of help you would be needing right now. Now, what does daycare mean, right? Daycare is a place you take your baby to, and this is a place where other kids are and they're being offered care. Now, a nanny is someone who comes into your own space and takes care of your baby. Now, the first pro for daycare centers is interaction. Interaction means your baby is able to interact with other kids, and by interacting with other kids, it helps them learn new things, get to do what other kids are doing, to help them get to engage in other things other kids are doing. On a long run, it would help speed up growth in your baby. Second pro for daycare centers is it is affordable. I don't know the country you live in, but in my country, Nigeria, Lagos City to be precise, taking your baby to daycare is cheaper, way cheaper than having a nanny, right? I'm not trying to say going to daycare is cheap. It's not cheap, but it is cheaper than having a nanny. The next is networking. Networking in terms of you as a mom or a dad. It helps you just mingle with other new moms. It helps you interact with other new moms. You guys can share ideas, share tips, share informations amongst each other. It just makes you have like a clique of moms who you guys are going through the same journey, experiencing the same thing, and it just makes life easier. So one advantage is networking for you as a parent and also for your child. It helps them build some form of friendship. It helps them build friendship even at that tender age. The fourth advantage is transition. Transition in this sense means that when your baby eventually starts school, it helps them fit into the school environment seamlessly because they are used to being around other kids, they're used to being in other environments aside their homes. It gives a smooth transition into school, and that's something most kids struggle with because most times when they lack the exposure of having to be in other space, other environments. The first 1 month of taking your child to an actual school can be difficult because it's a new thing. It's a new thing they have to start. They're not used to being with other persons. They're not used to having a carer. They're not used to having other persons apart from people they're comfortable with, which is their mom or their dad or just everyone in the house. They're not used to being in different environments aside their homes. Now the advantage of daycare is it helps them just get used to being in a different setting aside their homes, and this will give a smooth, seamless transition for them when they eventually start school. Now let's talk about the disadvantage or the cons of daycares. Now the first one is safety. Taking your baby to a daycare is a 50-50 thing as per health and safety, as per hygiene. Because you're not always there watching them, they might be exposed to a dirty environment, they might be exposed to non-hygienic things, and that are things that would on a long run or immediately put your baby's life at risk. Now that's one disadvantage. Another disadvantage or con daycare is sickness. Like this is one thing all moms who have their baby in a daycare are scared of this sickness. Your baby being exposed to other kids who have flu, other kids who have any form of sickness that is transmittable. I feel like this is one of the major reasons why some moms would not ever take their baby to daycare, and this is something that is for now is not under control, especially in my country, Nigeria. And something I pray to God, like I literally pray every day that my baby don't come back home. It's something, and this can be a reason why you would not consider daycare. But I'm just putting it out there as one of the cons of daycares. Another con is their timing. Now, most daycares, especially in my country, Nigeria, most daycares would normally do Monday to Friday. And this timing might not sit well with some persons. For people who are going back to work and they work Monday to Saturday, daycare might not be an option for you. So you also have to look out for these things. Most daycare in my country here in Nigeria, they mostly do Monday to Fridays. Mostly. On rare occasions, would you see some daycare centers do Saturday or even Sunday, but I feel like they exist, but they don't exist around my area. The one I got for my baby was Monday to Friday, or the one mostly seen in my area is Monday to Friday. And the timing might be a reason why you might not consider daycares, because if that timing don't sit well with your routine or your schedule, then you might want to consider having a nanny instead. In daycare, they have like a controlled timing, they have a fixed timing, and they have fixed days to when they can care for your child. So this might be a disadvantage or a con for you. Now, one last disadvantage or cons for daycares is bad habits. Now, you should be open to your baby coming back with habits, right? This might be good habit, this might be bad habit, but in this particular video, I'm talking about bad habits. There's tendency your baby will come back with that bad habit, and overall, taking a baby to daycare would expose them to bad habits. For me personally, my experience was my baby started crying differently, started screaming, started shouting, all these things might be regarded as bad habits for me, or not. So they're actually positive habits they would learn, and also negative habits. So you should be open for all these things. And lastly, be open for changed routine. Now your routine would change. If your baby is still very tender or young, or maybe still has a routine that both of you have, just be open for changes, because I had to be open for changes. My routine changed. In fact, presently, what I'm struggling with now is every time I go pick my baby up, he's always asleep. So I pick him up around, let's say, 5 p.m. and he sleeps through till 7 p.m. and then I, do my night routine with him. Before he goes to bed 12. Like last night, he went to bed 11 p.m. Now, that's one of the disadvantages, because it means that the whole day he was awake and he probably had to rest around the time I went to pick him up. But his normal bedtime was 7 p.m. Now his bedtime is 11 p.m. because of the changed routine he has experienced in his daycare. So currently, I'm just at the phase of accepting every single changes, to my routine and just working with it. So it's something you should be open for. Now let's talk about nannies, right? What are the pros to nannies? What are the cons? Before I jump into the pros and the cons of having a nanny, let me help you guys break down the categories of nannies you can hire. Now there are 3 categories. You can either choose to hire a full-time nanny who lives with you, which is a live-in full-time nanny. Now the second option is having a full-time nanny who would not live with you, right? That's a non-living full-time nanny. Now the third one is having a part-time nanny, which is someone who comes around when you need them to take care of your baby and leave. All this is dependent on your routine. All this is dependent on your schedule. All this is dependent on you, or at what days of the week or at what moment of your life do you need help. If you're a working class mom who works Monday to Friday, then you should decide on the option to go for. If you're a working class mom who works one off, you can decide the option to go for, which might be, having a part-time nanny. If you're a mom who works from home, you can decide on which category works for you. If you're a mom who do not work at all but needs assistance, you can decide on which works for you. So there are 3 options to it. Now let me dive into the pros and the cons of having a nanny. The first pro of having a nanny is comfort. Like, you're comfortable. You have them on site. Like, you can watch your baby on site. You can watch your nanny on site. And, you can also go ahead and even install CCTV in your house just so you can watch the nanny's activities. If you want to control everything they do, you can purchase cameras that even when you're not in the house, you can still watch what is happening. That's one advice I would give to you if you are deciding on sticking with nannies. Please get a camera to just oversee and supervise what your nanny is doing, right? Now, the next pro is flexibility. Now, comparing this with daycare, it wins. Like, you have them around you, they're living with you, so you have a flexible timing. If you come back home 9 p.m., if you want to have like a girls' night out, you have a flexible routine. You have a flexible timing. Flexibility supersedes that of the daycare. Another advantage is free time. You have a free time, and then you can always, I'm not saying you have free time to not pay attention to your baby, right? You have free time to do personal things. You have free time to think, to clear your thoughts. You have free time to take care of yourself. You have free time to work out. Like, I don't know how hard it is for you, but it's difficult for me to work out in the house with my baby. It's hard. It's hard because he's touchy, he's clingy, he always wants to hold. Like, how you're struggling, if you're still thinking, should I not, you need that free time. You need to get yourself back and get things going. So for you to do that, you need free time. Now this free time, you definitely get it in the daycare. Now let's talk about the cons, right? Now, what are the cons of having a nanny? Number one is it's expensive. In Nigeria here, we do more of agency this, and it's just the fact that they will bring people who maybe can't speak English, or people who don't understand English, or people who are not willing to do the job. That's a turn off for me. Like, that was why I insisted I wanted to take care, because I was just scared of having a non-Nigerian person in my house, or a Nigerian person who don't love kids, or someone who don't understand English. Or most agencies in Nigeria, I'm not saying all, would have people who can't communicate properly, children, like very young children, will have them being sent to houses to care for babies. How is that possible? You personally have to train them. From your pocket, you have to train them. You have to run tests. You have to run HIV tests. You have to run, so many tests so that you don't put your baby's life at risk. If you want to go with this route, please be sure to run tests. Be sure to install a CCTV camera. Very important. It's a huge budget you have to set aside for getting a nanny. Now, if you're ready to go through this, if you have that budget, then why not? By all means, go with a nanny. The pros outweigh the cons, right? So I advise you to go with a nanny if you can afford it. And if you can wait, if you can be patient to get a good nanny. That's one thing I didn't have. I didn't have time. The only reason why I didn't go for a nanny was because I had that. So I had a very short period of time to look for a nanny, so I quickly had to opt for a daycare. And while my baby is still currently in daycare, because the particular daycare I choose for him or eventually choose for him is perfect. Still want him to remain there because their services and everything is just top notch. So now I've been able to share with you guys the pros and cons of either going for a daycare or going for a nanny. If you've decided to go for a nanny, make sure they go for medical check-up. Make sure you carry out tests on anybody or any stranger you bring in to your house, and install a CCTV camera. You have to do this with it. That's if you're going for a nanny. If you've decided to go with a daycare, you should watch this video. Now this video I've explained and I've broken down steps, things to do, a checklist, which is things to look out for in choosing a daycare for a baby. I also talked about red flags and I shared tips. So please watch this video. If you're based in Nigeria, this comes in handy because I was very specific. So please guys, watch this video below. Now this brings me to the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching my video, please subscribe. Please let me know down in the comment section what you love for me to discuss next on my channel. Feel free to share with me your experience with daycares and nannies in your country. Love for us to interact and mingle down in the comment section, so feel free to interact with me. Thank you guys for sticking around. See you in my next video. Bye.